entire video on what is a water year and the difference between incremental and accumulated precipitation, you're ready to look at the data for the weather stations in this project. So let's start by being open on the Boise State website in the Dry Creek and right here in the precipitation spatial average project instructions. All right, and I'm going to skip down to the bottom part of step 1, where you are asked to look for precipitation data for the lower weather and tree line stations, and then the Bogus Basin station. Okay, so let's click the link and open the Google Sheet for the lower weather and tree line stations. And what we can see here is that we have a bunch of columns, so it's always good to read the information at the top. And so we can see that we have a date time column. We can see we have a lower weather precipitation column with a cumulative shielded rain gauge depth. All right, and hopefully that is making some sense to you. We're looking at precipitation in millimeters at the lower weather station, and we're looking at depth in millimeters that has been accumulated. So if we look down here, then we can see that our data availability starts on January 1st of the year 2000. Now, you may not need it that far back, so you need to read the project instructions. But here is that lower weather column, and you can see that it didn't rain immediately. This is hourly data. It didn't rain immediately on January 1st of 2000, but then it did. It rained or it snowed. And notice these numbers are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So these are the same as what we'd expect to have in an accumulated data set. So that's a good sign that it is what it says it is. So now if we want to find data for, say, the water year 2012, remember that that is going to start on September 30th, 2011. So we need to scroll down. Hang on, I need to resize my screen here a little bit. Okay, so we need to scroll down to September 30th, 2011. Fortunately, we can do that very quickly. Oh, we're still in 2010. Now we've gone too far. All right. So one second. Find the beginning of the water year here. All right, so here's the very first hour of the water year. And you can see that for the lower tree line, or the lower weather station, it's reading 330 millimeters. So I'm going to go ahead and open a new Google Sheet just to keep track of this. So, I'm going to say lower weather in millimeters on 10/1/2011 is 330 millimeters. 330. Now you're going to also do this for the tree line station, which you can find on that same spreadsheet here. I think it's in column C, but I'm just going to take you through this for 1 year for the lower weather for now. All right, so then we want to see how much more precipitation had accumulated by the end of that calendar year. And here it's really easy to pull out because it rolls to 0 again on January 1st, because this is a calendar year accumulation. So at the end of the year, it is 433 millimeters. All right. So that means that between those two periods, no, I don't want to sum it, Google, thanks for being helpful. I am just going to subtract these two values, and that's how much we got in October through December, right? Now, I don't need to record what it is on January 1st because that's always going to start as 0 if it's a calendar year accumulation. So I just need to scroll down until the end of the water year. Oh, too far. All right, and we see 322.5. So 930 2012 is 322.5. So now I'm going to add those two numbers together, referencing the cell 103 and referencing the cell 322. And this is going to be our total water year 2012 data. Now, I like to write equations because once I've typed in the data for the tree line, I can just copy those equations over. And if I needed to do multiple years, I can copy them over, and I don't have to worry about making mistakes with my math as I go through multiple years and multiple weather stations. Okay, so 425.5 millimeters of total precipitation in water year 2012 at the lower weather station. So now we know how to use this spreadsheet. That's awesome. Let's go look at the Bogus Basin. All right, so we're back on the Boise State page. We're going to visit the station website here, and they do have year by year instructions here, or exactly what to click. So here it is. This is a picture of the Bogus Basin website. So we're going to go down and look at select report content, and we are going to look at accumulated what are we going to look at? Let's try precipitation accumulation. So we're going to select that as our report content. We're going to go over here to view historic. We're going to say we want water year 2012. Oops, that's a little annoying. There we go. And we want all days. And let's try the table. And let's see if we can do this without even having to download the file. Okay, so view historic. What's going to happen here? All right, that worked. So now we have our data starting on the first day of water year 2012. And notice that this one is daily data. And notice that our precipitation is in an inch. It's not just me that makes you do unit conversions. You're going to run into this all the time in hydrology. Okay, so it's starting at 0 on the first day. It is accumulating. So all we need to do to find the accumulated precipitation at the end of the year is scroll all the way down to the bottom, 31.5 inches. Okay, so let's set that one up. So Bogus Basin is in inches, and we have 31.5. All right, if we want that in millimeters, we can set that up easily because there are 25.4 millimeters per inch. Another one of those conversions that you'll get stuck in your head if you do this for long enough. And here we see that in water year 2012, Bogus Basin got 800.1 millimeters versus the 425.5 at the lower weather station. All right, so immediately that tells us there's some pretty interesting things happening in this watershed. All right, again, to get to the data from the Bogus Basin webpage, I clicked on precipitation accumulation. Then I went over, I selected the 2012 water year, all days. I didn't feel like actually downloading a file and trying to open it up, so I set it to be a table that I was going to open in a new window, and then I clicked the view historic. All right. So if we need to do a different water year, we just switch to a different water year, and once again, click view historic. And now you can see we are at the beginning of the 2011 water year, which starts on October 1st, 2010. All right, hopefully that's very helpful in terms of getting you going with looking at this data. You're not doing intense computation in these day-to-day sort of basis. You're just trying to pick out the total amount of water that is recorded at each of these weather stations in a given water year. All right, good luck, and I'll see you in class this week.